Medusa, the tragic story of cursed beauty. In the early ages of the expansion of the universe, Medusa, one of the daughters of Phorcys, god of the seas, was a mortal whose beauty would make goddesses envious. With the marbling of her golden hair, her olive green eyes and white skin, she was the most admired and the most magnificent of the young girls dedicated to the temples. As a servant of the goddess Athena, she lived in her sacred temple and served her goddess faithfully by preserving her purity. But she always said that the reward of fate was not beauty, but a curse. One day Poseidon, god of the sea, was struck by the beauty of Medusa. The moment he saw her, he was passionately moved, but he did not express his feelings with divine grace. On the contrary, he forcibly possessed Medusa in Athena's temple, violating the sanctuary. This defiled the sanctity of both the temple and Medusa. Athena did not directly intervene in this horrible crime, but directed her anger not at the god, but at Medusa instead of the victim. As a result of this twisted justice, Medusa's beauty was destroyed forever. Her bright hair turned into a serpent, her face horrific. Worst of all, anyone who looked into her eyes would turn to stone. Medusa was now the embodiment of a curse. She was ostracized from society, declared a monster, and took refuge in the swamps of Sarpedon, the place of her exile, full of endless rocks. Her loneliness and pain turned into rage over time. Anyone who dared to see her was petrified the moment they looked into her eyes. As Medusa became a legend, she became a symbol of fear. Years later, King Polydectes asked the young hero Perseus to bring the head of Medusa. In fact, this was a planned trick to send Perseus to his death. But the gods did not leave Perseus alone in this task. Hermes gave him a sharp sword, Hades gave him a helmet of invisibility, and Athena gave him a shining shield. Perseus sneaked into the cave where the Gorgon brothers lived. Medusa was asleep at the time. Without looking directly at her, the hero orientated himself using Athena's shield as a mirror. Without averting his eyes, he completed his mission by cutting off Medusa's head in a single move. However, the story of Medusa did not end here. From the blood gushing out of her severed head, Pegasus with seahorse wings and the giant warrior Chrysaor were born. These two beings were parts of her divine soul. Perseus used Medusa's head as a weapon. He triumphed in many battles by stoning his enemies. But in the end, Medusa's head was presented to Athena, and the goddess placed it on her shield to turn enemies to stone with her gaze even in the midst of battles. Medusa has always been portrayed as a monster in history, but in fact she was an innocent mortal victim of the injustice of the gods. A figure cursed with her beauty, punished against her will, but eventually engraved in eternity with her power and story. See you on the next mythological journey.